Hello and welcome to the Comic Cave. I'm Ramsey, aka Captain Away, and today we're looking at the 1965 comic Fantastic Four Annual 3. Because you guys requested it, so we're doing it. In many ways, the release of the first issue of Fantastic Four in 1961 was the start of the Marvel Age. Marvel's first family would basically pave the way for all the superheroes to come, so it's probably only appropriate that the big event of the marriage of the two lovebirds in the group, Reed Richards and Sue Storm, should bring together for the first time many of Marvel's greatest heroes and villains. This character cameo extravaganza was brought to us by the FF's original creative team of Smilin' Stan Lee and Jolly Jack Kirby, so you know it's gonna be a good time. Let's see just how wild it gets, and take this away. The comic opens on some bad news. Well, bad news for Dr. Doom, good news for everyone else, cause Reed Richards and Sue Storm are finally getting married! Yay! And everyone is turning out for the big event. We get some immediate cameos from the likes of Tony Stark, as well as Patsy Walker and her bestest gal pal, Hetty. At the time of this comic, the two women were just part of some of Marvel's teen romance style comics. But of course, real ones know that Patsy will eventually become Hellcat. But mostly our cameos, at least at first, are going to come from villains, like the Puppet Master here, who tries to send an attacker to crash the party, only to be stopped by Nick Fury and S.H.I.E.L.D., who are providing security for the event, apparently. Pretty swanky, getting a global police task force as the private security for your wedding. Ooh, Reed Richards, so fancy. But Puppet Master's not the only villain making trouble. The Mole Man and his Moloids also attack, but the classic X-Men, still in their original school uniforms, quickly shove all the mole people back down the hole they came out of, and Iceman blocks the hole with ice. I mean, they broke open the hole originally in the floor, so I don't know why they couldn't just break another hole, but whatever. The Red Ghost and his man-apes, yes, you heard me right, also attacks, attempting to reach Sue Storm directly while everyone else was distracted by Mole Man. But Doctor Strange shows up to get them really high. Send them off into another dimension of reality. A very groovy dimension. All of this is happening because of Dr. Doom, which is why we saw him at the beginning of the story. Doomy has created what he calls an emotion machine that is pushing all the villains in New York to act upon their rage at the Fantastic Four. This causes us to fill up panels with even more guest villains, including the original Black Knight from back when he was a villain, Kang the Conqueror, Awesome Andy, and even the Enchantress and the Executioner. But we also get a ton of guest superheroes involved to try and save the wedding, including Thor, Daredevil, Captain America, Hawkeye, Spider-Man, and more, until we have just a giant cameo crazy clash in the middle of the streets of New York City. The best part of this for me is when the mighty Atuma shows up, the evil warlord from Atlantis and enemy of Namor. And speaking of Namor, the Submariner and Hulk are among two of the only major Marvel heroes to not show up for this story, though they do both appear on the cover, so still counts. Atuma has brought his entire army with him, but they don't even get out of the water. Instead, they're stopped completely by accident by a fully unaware Daredevil, who had just been hoping to use the docks to dispose of a bomb that he had stolen from some Hydra agents that had themselves been hoping to use that bomb in an attack on the wedding. And yes, Daredevil was driving a car. And a nice and surprisingly subtle joke to have a blind man driving a car. What are you doing driving a car? Who does he think he is? Geordie LaForge? The events get so crazy that the Watcher feels the need to step in and help out. Not that it ever seemed to take much for the Watcher to intervene in some of these old FF comics. Dude was practically the fifth member of the team. Anyway, the Watcher pulls Reed out of the major melee and brings the scientist to the Watcher's home on the moon. There, in an effort to pretend that he's not getting involved in the events, he simply lets Reed look through all of his high-tech equipment, and then kicks Richards out of his house the moment Reed settles on using one of the devices. This device that was selected is one designed to send everyone back to where they were before this whole mess started, with no memory of what had happened. Which does work, but I'm not entirely sure why they wouldn't just attack again, seeing as Doom's emotion device should still be functioning and Reed didn't do anything to disrupt that. or even figure out that it was causing the problem to begin with. But oh well, this was still apparently more than enough, and the wedding gets to proceed without further interruption, though we're only shown the very end of it. As the wedding moves over to the reception, we get one last cameo in the form of Stan Lee and Jack Kirby themselves, dressed in tuxedos probably outside the affordability range for lowly writers and artists. They should have been dressed like Harry and Lloyd, you know what I mean? Despite their finery, they're not allowed into the wedding of their own creation, so they head into the night already planning on the next issue of the comic. And that's where the comic ends, so that's when we get to the breakdown. I'm not sure there's really much to say here. This is a pretty fun and silly comic just intended to make a big explosive adventure out of an otherwise simple and straightforward event. I guess most notable is that this would kinda set the stage for Marvel wedding issues to come, to have to often involve long, complicated events filled with villains trying to destroy the happiness of our heroes. I guess we can all just be thankful that this didn't get the Secret Wars 2 treatment and require us to buy all the mags from all these other heroes just to get the full story of this wedding. Instead, it's just a quick collage of cameos, a nod to the creators, and a brief glimpse of the actual main event, and we're good to go. It's all we needed, and it's all we got. So I'm giving this a, comic recommendation level of medium. I mean, I guess. I don't know. It's not exactly monumental or groundbreaking or an absolute must read, but it's certainly a fun time, and I have no real criticisms to level at it. There's no collected edition, obviously, since we're just looking at a single issue of a comic here, so I'll just be skipping that. If you're curious, you can find it in the 5th volume of the Fantastic Four Marvel Masterworks collection, and those collections are perfectly fine. Thanks everybody for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Just wanted to do a quick bonus video for you for the Labor Day weekend, and because it was specifically requested. Make sure to watch my other video from this weekend for Secret Wars 3, and if you enjoy what I'm doing, or you're just a hero, or you simply forgot how you even got here in the first place, then please make sure to hit the like and the subscribe and all those good things so you can help the channel out. And so you can help yourself to be sure to be here next time, and I hope to see you then, right here in the Comic Cave.